Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome to the Secrets of a Ghostwriter. Today, the tutorial that I feel might be watched the most. Certainly, if you hang out in publishing and author forums, this is the topic that is right up there at the top of the discussion list. Publishing versus self-publishing. Let's weigh in with what I think about this. Over a decade ago, when I first started writing, I would not have entertained self-publishing. I would have taken the attitude, well, I'll self-publish if I have to, ... if I can't get anywhere else. Now, luckily, one of the first books I wrote was picked up by a publisher. So much of what I know starts at that process and has filtered down into self-publishing because I've not always been published and have gone the self-publishing route. I think if we look at numbers, the reality is that being published is a small percentage of writers. Self-published is a big percentage. And we're in that era now, as we all know, where if you take a piece of furniture, it doesn't really come with instructions. If you want to know how something works, you YouTube it. We've got influencers that nobody's ever really heard of, but seem to have 1 million followers. It's all out there on the internet. And so, of course, is everything set up for self-publishing. So in the early noughties, self-publishing would have been seen as something like a vanity project. Those words have always hung over self-publishing as if to condemn it, as if to mock it. You know the kind of scenario. You might be in the sixth form at school and your English teacher says, oh, you should publish your book of poetry. They're lovely, those poems, etc., etc. And only your friends buy it, but you're pretty happy. I don't think that's a real snapshot of where self-publishing is now. In fact, I know it's not. The tools are there. If your book is ready, you can upload it tonight. And, well, our old friend Amazon will do the rest. KDP is, of course, the fastest and most well-known route to self-publishing. But why should you self-publish over being published? I think this simply comes down to one element, and it's control. Now, clearly, if it's your first work and you are going down the self-publishing route, you probably need to rope in some extra help. Your skill may be a writer. It might not be a formatter or a cover designer. The benefit of being published is that you'll have about 10, 15 people working on your book. That could be an editor. It could be a proofreader. There's a difference. It could be a legal read. It could be a captions person. It could be a publicity guru. It could be a social media guru. It could be somebody liaising with newspapers if you want to sell a serialization, and on it goes. Everybody gets involved. Self-publishing, of course, well, you are a one-person band. So you have to do everything, but you are in control. And I think the biggest plus for self-publishing is that it takes out that wasted time waiting. So if you send in hope your manuscript to a publisher or an agent, I think the first few days you'll be desperately hoping you get some sort of reply. Well, guess what? It takes a bit of time to read books, and yours isn't the only one they've got. And then a few weeks pass and you realize there's been no reply. And many of these people don't reply. So you lose a bit of time, you lose a bit of belief, and you lose a bit of momentum. If you go down the self-publishing process, as I said, you can publish that day. And even if you get a proper publishing house behind you, the reality is that they've got a schedule which they're going to work you into. I've had many conversations where publishers have said to me, oh yeah, well, that'll be really good. We'll put that out in about 1.5 years, the following summer. And I'm like, well, no, it's scheduled. That book needs to go on the anniversary of the book that it's about. And I'm not waiting 1.5 years. And we're in an impatient world now where even if the lure of a publisher comes calling, that's still a long time to wait. So self-publishing cuts out that time disappointment, dissatisfaction. Self-publishing gives you control. Absolutely right. You can time when your book comes out, and self-publishing gives you control because the royalties. Now, whilst Amazon will take a hell of a lot of money from your showing price on Amazon, you can control that initial price. And once Amazon has taken its cut, the rest of the money is yours. It's never going to be 100%. Don't fool yourself. Yes, a publishing house is going to take a percentage. When we released the policeman's book, Tango 190, the retail price, I think, was £16. David Rathband, the co-writer, and myself shared £2.50 per copy. So that was our cut once all the other costs had been taken out. So clearly, with self-publishing, that money is coming back to you. But there are many other mountains to climb, in that you've got to find that cover designer, that marketing assistant, that social media guru, that publicity person, that proofreader, that legal reader. You've got to be all of those people yourself. So self-publishing, massive responsibility, but probably the defining issue is, with its credibility now higher than it ever was. So vanity books, vanity publishing, no longer an issue, but control on timing, controlling the royalties means that self-publishing is a really decent option. And just to extend that even further, there are, of course, companies that will take you through the entire publishing process as if they were a publishing house, but they'll also take your money. So we've got a tutorial on mistakes that you can make if you're self-publishing. For me, the optimum route to self-publishing is print on demand, POD. If you're new to the industry and you don't understand POD, it's very simple. Nobody prints a copy of your book until it's ordered. Therefore, costs are at a minimum. So POD, I believe, is an excellent route to self-publishing and therefore publishing. I hope that helps. And I'll see you next time when the secrets of a ghostwriter continues.